back to the program. Into ASEAN calendar, lots of highlights coming up ahead.
ใช่แล้วค่ะกลับเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ในช่วงนี้ ASEAN Calendar ไปดูกันว่ามีอีเวนต์อะไรบ้างค่ะ
National Day in Brunei. When is Brunei National Day? Brunei National Day, or Hari Nasional Day in Malay, is always celebrated on the 23rd of February. This holiday marks full independence from the United Kingdom in 1984. It's the National Day of Brunei. History of Brunei National Day. At the turn of the 15th century, the Bruneian emperor, under the leadership of Sultan Bolkiah, emerged as an important power within the Malay archipelago, controlling several regions in Borneo. During the 19th century, the influence and domain of the Bruneian Empire was starting to wane, eventually becoming a British protectorate in 1888. Brunei was occupied by the Japanese during World War II, invading only a week after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Brunei was liberated by Australian forces in June 1945. In 1959, a new constitution was adopted that declared Brunei a self-governing state, though foreign affairs, security, and defense matters remained under the control of Britain. Despite a minor rebellion that was suppressed in 1962, Brunei's position as a UK protectorate was largely peaceful. On January 1st, 1984, Brunei gained its independence from the United Kingdom. The official name of the country is Sultanate of Brunei, Abode of Peace, or Negara Brunei Darussalam in Malay. Even though Brunei became independent on January 1st, 1984, British control formally ended on February 23rd, 1984. So it's this date that now commemorates Brunei's independence. How is Brunei National Day celebrated? This holiday was first celebrated on February 23rd, 1984. It's become a popular holiday with the national flag as a common sight in the streets and on buildings. A large parade is held in the National Stadium. It's also become a tradition for people to visit their mosques and offer prayers to celebrate the country's independence.
The 25th of February 2018, People Power Anniversary in the Philippines. People Power Anniversary is a nationwide observance and school holiday in the Philippines each year. This event holds a special place in the hearts of many Filipinos as they remember a revolution that restored democracy in the Philippines in 1986. What do people do? Many people celebrate People Power Anniversary by wearing yellow, which was the official color of the Laban Party, the rival political group that challenged the government back in 1986. Much of the festivities and activities occur in the city of Manila, particularly Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, or EDSA, a major public road where people flock to visit. Activities include programs such as church masses and concerts. Many people also flash the Laban fight sign, which is an L sign using one's index finger and thumb. Media stations broadcast programs about the event through a live feed of street celebrations, documentaries about the revolution, and interviews with prominent political figures and personalities. The print media publish news and feature articles on stories related to this event. Public life. People Power Anniversary in the Philippines is a school holiday only, so both public and private schools are closed. Business remains open on this day. There is less traffic, especially in cities on this day, giving commuters a chance to enjoy a brief respite from rush hour traffic woes. There is no disruption of service in public and mass transport systems, with regular routes and schedules remaining intact. Background. The story behind People Power Anniversary traces back to events that occurred from February 22nd to the 25th, 1986. Masses of disillusioned people, mainly from urban Manila, staged a revolution on the streets of Manila. This revolution eventually led to the downfall of a government that many people saw as corrupt and oppressive. A major road called EDSA in Manila was the stage for crucial events that occurred during the revolution. Nearly 2 million people were protesting on the street at one point during this historical event. Many Filipinos consider the holiday as historic and important because the revolution changed and reformed the political system in the Philippines. People Power Anniversary was a working holiday on February 25th in previous years. It was not a day off for work or schools, but activities and ceremonies to celebrate the anniversary would continue to occur. In 2009, the Monday nearest February 25th was declared a special holiday for schools, both public and private. Symbols. Yellow symbolizes the revolution and also is the official color of the Laban Fight political party. The L sign, which is formed by one's index finger and thumb, is another symbol of the Laban party and the people's defiance of the authoritarian government at the time of the revolution. The 1st of March 2018, Maka Busha Day. It was 9 full months after the Buddha got the enlightenment, on the full moon day of the 6th lunar month, 45 years before the Buddhist era. On the full moon day of the 3rd lunar month, Maka of the year, 4 special events happened. 1. There were 1,250 Sangha followers that came to see the Buddha that evening without any schedule. 2. All of them were Arahants, the enlightened one, and all of them were ordained by the Buddha himself. 3. The Buddha gave those Arahants the principles of the Buddhism, called the Ovad Patimokkha. Those principles are to cease from all evil, to do what is good, to cleanse one's mind. 4. It was a full moon day. Another important event which happened on the same days, the full moon day of the 3rd lunar month, 44 years later, the last year of the Buddha's life, he decided to parinippan or nirvana, leave the mind from the body or die. 3 months after that day, on the full moon day of the 6th lunar month, we know as Visakha Busha Day. Activities to be observed on Maka Busha Day. Tambun. Making merit by going to temples for special observances, making merit, listening to Dharma practices, giving some donations, and joining in the other Buddhist activities. Rapsin. Keeping the 5 precepts, including abstinence from alcoholic drinks and all kinds of immoral acts. Takban. Offering food to the monks and novices in the alm bowl. Practice of renunciation. Observe the 8 precepts, practice of meditation and mental discipline. Stay in the temple wearing white robes for a number of days. Wien Tien. Attending the candlelight procession around the Ubosot Hall in the evening of the Wisek full moon day. March 2018, Full Moon Day of Tabal. Full Moon Day of Tabal in Myanmar is a Buddhist holiday that comes on the full moon of the 3rd month of the Burmese calendar. That normally corresponds to sometime in March on the Gregorian calendar. The whole month of Tabal is a time of celebration, colorful cultural events, and Buddhist devotion in Myanmar. Full Moon Day of Tabal, also known Maka Busha, is the highlight of it all. This is a time when Buddhist devotees will go to temples and make merit. It is also the time of the Shwedagon Pagoda Festival, the biggest one of the year in all of Myanmar. At the outset of this festival, there will be ceremonial offerings made to 28 different statues of Buddha. Then for 10 days straight, there will be recitals of various Buddhist scriptures.
Peasants' Day. Myanmar, also known as Burma, celebrates Peasants' Day yearly every 2nd of March. It is incidentally the General Ne Win's seizure of power in 1962. Ne Win is a military commander and a politician of Myanmar. He served 2 terms as the country's prime minister from 1958 to 1960, and another from 1962 to 1974. He was also the country's head of state from 1962 to 1981. He's also head of the country's powerful political party Socialist Program Party from 1964 until 1988. The party was the only party allowed to exist during the Ne Win's strict military rule, until he was ousted as a result of social unrest happening on 1988, known as the 8888 Uprising. During this day, various talks and development programs were laid down, discussed, and revealed for the improvement of the peasant sector, which is the country's flagship economy. History of Myanmar's Peasants' Day. The peasant sector occupies around 70% of Myanmar's population and undoubtedly the most productive workforce in the country. Because of this, Myanmar recognizes the powerful control of farmers in driving the country's economic output. But it's the farming sector that usually suffers whenever a power struggle happens in the country, as rebels usually flee into the jungles of Myanmar to avoid prosecution and seek protection. The country has long been wanting to transform this country into a developed nation with plans to improve the industrial sector of society, but inadequate funding, corruption, and political instability halted the region from realizing its true potential. The entirety of the peasantry before 1965 experienced usury and inappropriate use of agricultural land. Farming lands were rented, and many of the farmers couldn't keep up with the rising cost of land rent. During this time, laws were passed to protect farmers against this practice and led to massive land reformation, and among them is the passing of Protecting Farmers Against Land Renting. These acts were all made under the military administration of Ne Win and continue until today. Most of the monumental reformation happened during his term and continued until his resignation in 1988 after an uprising. Today, Myanmar still focuses on the development of new technologies and laws to protect farmers from unfair land treatment and support their various causes, as the whole country's economy depends on this sector. Myanmar Peasants' Day. Traditions, customs, and activities. During the holiday, Myanmar's local leaders organize talks on reforms in peasantry around the country and present issues challenging the development of the agricultural field. Since this is a national holiday, public companies are closed, while some private companies remain open. Families and individuals may choose to remain indoors or visit local parks, pagodas, temples as well in the area. Also, trade and cultural shows organized around the country showcase these traditional crafts, culture, and arts.
And those were the events to mark your calendars. With that said, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back soon.
Stay with us.